Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and go into our prayer. We asked our elder mentor to open our session with a prayer. That's Miss Velma. So if you would.
Oh.
Miss Velma, your video is not on. I think you hit your mute button. But I just wanted to let you know in case.
What about now?
We can hear you, we just can't see you.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where I am. Oh, I don't know. I'm here.
Okay. It's okay.
Cool. Dog e, dog I bega dog e. Omoy dog e toddy dog. They own they do tie do they da they keyed up a dog no. I hold the yanama dog they own they koi on by dog. I hate to get taint so dog tiger dog and dog. Ayo they keyed up but dog. So they go. My yop yakoi kya yoka dogu da. They own they be tied oh they gum dog no da tiger get dog they and be da hal gum dog or be tied oh the dog no. Tiger they told you da dog. Heavenly Father, ask that you would bless our service people, our women, our young ladies, our men and our young men. Dogu da. Thankful that you're with them and you watch over them and you protect them through our prayers that we utter to you to take care of them. And those that have gone on ahead to our Heavenly Father, we think of them. This day is special. Dog, day on day. Hey, to get taints o dog, Hey, to ya. They keyed up by dog, day on day. Hey, oi, tan, da, zoom get da, they thought. They hoi tape go, betado, they get da, I get it. Well, Hyundai can get Sunday thought, but hook is a bait, they can't, they thought. They own the heck to get taints or the tido, they go the tido, they go dog, Helen echo what he did, they thought, a good, they thought. You go, I take go, bless them with the strength. Let them be strong and be positive. Thoughts I get thought, they thought, they own, they thought. He to get, hey, oi, son. Dog. We see our relatives and our friends on the Zoom. Dog, I hold betado the dog. He dotado the not I get it. It mahim dog. I hold the anoma dog. Amen.
No.
Well, welcome everyone. We're so happy to see some familiar faces. We hope that you're staying well and safe during this pandemic. It's been very challenging for us. I work with the Kiowa Language Program as the curriculum specialist, and I'm also a teacher candidate for the Carnegie area. And so we have just been through a lot as a program. We've lost some individuals. We've had several closings due to cases at the tribal complex. And then we had outages with the internet, and then the ice storm hit, and it's just been a lot, but we're still pushing through. And so this Zoom program is new for most of us, but it looks like we may be using this for a while, and we just wanted to do something in recognition of Veterans Day. And so we have a few things to share with you, but mostly we wanted to have just a space for us to be able to connect and listen and share. So we want this to be interactive. We want to hear from you. If you have a story to share, and there's even a way for me to do a screen share. So if there's an image or a picture that you would like to share, we can do that as well. For Zoom, I don't know, I think that everybody's screen may look a little bit different. But for me, I can see about 5 screens across. So I can see about 5.
I don't know how I got that over here. It's supposed to be over here.
5 screens across, but if you're, you should be able to scroll left or right. If there are some people that aren't in your view, you can kind of make the view wider so you can see more people. So you can kind of toggle, play around with that while we're on here, and then you'll be able to see other folks. The other thing I wanted to point out is that on my screen, the bar goes across the top, but on yours, it may be across the bottom. But there's a toolbar across the top. If you move your cursor from your computer across the top, you'll see more next to, on mine it says remote control and then more. And if I click on more and drop down 1, there's a chat. So click on the chat and then that'll open up the chat box. And then as people are commenting, you can read their comments and you can add to the comments too. So when we were waiting for everyone to get logged on, I asked folks to just say hello so we can see where people are logging in from. We have people, looks like from across different parts of Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas, and different places. So log on to the chat so we can record and document all the people that were on tonight. So with that, Freddie is going to, first of all, he's going to share a little bit about the flag, the Kiowa flag song. He's going to sing it for us so we can hear it. And for many of us that haven't been to a dance in quite a while, I think that we long to hear those songs. And so thank you, Freddie. He's one of our teacher candidates, but he's also, as most of you know, a well-noted singer. And so he offered to sing some songs for us. And I think he's going to also share maybe 1 or 2 other songs. So after he sings the song, we asked one of our elder mentors to just talk a little bit about the words in that song. And if anybody would like to share, just feel free to jump in at that time, okay? So I'm going to turn it over to Freddie.
Okay, Tony had asked me to sing our Kiowa flag song, as well as the, my grandpa composed a song back in the 40s, and he presented it when they organized the Carnegie Victory Club. And she asked me to sing that song as well. So, oh wait, my phone is going off. Okay. So I'm gonna sing those 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right.
Yoink.
You say yoink?
No, I'm muted. I'm muted. I'm muted. I'm muted. That's it. See?
You want to have her translate it, or?
Yeah, Miss Velma, can you share with us a little bit about the words in that song, or Aunt D or Grandma D or whoever wants to talk about it?
Dolores.
Okay.
She wants you to do it.
Well, says alcohol tago, that's the flag. Bait age old ha. That means raise the flag. You have a right to raise the old ha is raised. And age, but we have a right to raise the flag. And then Honde Onde ba Onge. You know what Honde Onde is? You should by now, some of you. It's wonderful that this happened to us, meaning she's talking about the men coming back. And the song is old. It's an old a scalp dance song. And so she just put words to a song that was very old. So it's not something that the Kiowas have always had. And this is from my mother saying that she was present at when Chief Apatone's son was having a dance for his son who came. And and his sister, Mrs. Miyaka, was there, and my mother said she was coming down the hill and the men were singing. She was, I guess, going toward the arena, whatever they called it in those days. And she had a flag in her hand, a small flag. And then she began to sing. And as they were singing, then at the end, she knew the part, I guess, to put her words in. And my mother was there. She was describing. And it's an old song. It wasn't made after World War One. It was always there because my mother said because there were several elders that lived there reservation days, and they knew the songs, they knew how to conduct those dances and victory dances. So however they celebrated the warriors' return. They were there to guide and tell what to do, and so that's the story that my mother says, and her nephew was a veteran, Glenn White Fox. He went overseas, and I think there are about 7 who had dances, and they were held at wherever their parents' home was. And if you listen to Kiowa culture tapes, I've listened to them several times because they're interesting. At World War One, and each one of those participants said they were there. Some were small children, they were younger, and they all said that they'd never been to a dance, they'd never seen a dance like that in their lives. And they didn't go to dances, they didn't have dances like that. So that's the first time they heard the words, the songs, and watched the people dance. This was in what, 19, what is it, 17, 16? Anyway, that's my contribution. That's what I know. And then my each one of them had, each family welcomed my cousin Glenn White Fox and Lon Opitone, and then the Colleys, Gilbert Colley, and I think his brother, I don't know his brother's name. And anyway, that's where they celebrated the return of, and so that's at the end of World War I. And so the flag song is an old Scout dance song. I guess you could, if you want to, words, if you need, she says, "Big agil ha honde onde ba onge." So that's it. We have a right to, and it's good to raise a flag because we've been blessed, and that's just a way to express her joy that her nephew came back and all the others, and the war was over. And you have to remember back then, you didn't have the communications that you have now. And I believe that this Mr. Opitone was one of the last ones to come home. But they all had, I think there are 7 of them that all had celebrations at their homes and wherever they lived. Like I say, Kiowas didn't dance have 7 powwows a week. They didn't dance in those days. And so like we do now. And so it was something very special, a very special way to honor the veterans in a very traditional way, is what the way my mother said.
Okay, I'm gonna sing the Victory Club song. The way I understood it, well, I asked my uncles earlier on when my grandpa composed this song, they think he composed it on the way to over there on his trip on his way to war, and they think he composed it maybe around 1942. The song came to him, and at first he didn't know why, but it just came to him. And then later on, when the Victory Club was formed, they asked for a song, and this is he gave them that song. It doesn't have words in it. It's just vocalizations. Like I don't know why he didn't put words in it. It's just the way it is. Like many of our veteran songs have a lot of words in them, but this one it doesn't. It's just a straight song. And here we go. We are no how we go away, oh hey, we are no how we go away, oh hey, we are no how we go away, we are young, how we die, we go, oh, hey, we are young, how we die, we go, oh, hey, we are young, how we die, we go, we are no ho, we go, oh, hey, we are yo ho, we go, oh, hey, we are yo ho, way, yay, way, ya, ya, ho, way, ya, no, ho, way, oh, way, oh, way, yay, way, yo, ho, way, oh, hey, yay, yay, way, ya, ya, ho, way, ya, ya, ho, way, oh, ho, way, oh, way, yay, yay, way, ya, ya, ho, way, ya, ya, ho, way, oh, way, oh, hey, yay, yay, way, ya, ho, way, oh, hey, yay, yay, way, ya, ya, ho, way, ya, ya, ho, way, oh, ho, way, oh, hey, yay, yay, way, ya, ya, ho, way, ya, ya, ho, way, oh, way, oh, hey, yay, yay. As a singer, as a Kiowa singer, one of the greatest honors is to be head singer for the Victory Club, because it's one of our biggest dances as Kiowas. And in 2012, I was asked to be head singer, and that's one of the greatest things to be head singer there. It's up there with being head singer for the 4th of July, to be asked to sit in that position. And that's one of my greatest honors, to sit there for my people. And that's it. That's all I gotta say. Who's next?
I expect you to sing that song and you froze the entire time.
I see several people on here. I just don't want to move on too quickly. Is there anybody that wants to add anything about that? Somebody asked a question for our elders that are online, said, was it uncommon, or I'm paraphrasing, they said, was it uncommon for a woman to compose a song?
Or 2 women composed quartets song. Mary Tartza and
Does anybody want to speak on that?
No, it was not. They did it because, as I say, my mother, my mother sang a lot, and she, when her only son was overseas, she used to sing several songs that she made, and then this recording where she is speaking about the flag song, then she sang a song that would belong to that her aunt used to sing with, and her aunt's husband was killed in one of the, I guess, war party. And she used to sing that song. She sang that song, my mother learned it. So that was yes, they did, way back. So, and they sang for themselves. My mother didn't sing that for anybody to know. She just sang it for her own consolation.
Well, this evening, Martha Perez, who has emceed the Victory Club powwow, and her family, the Kumsa and the Hall family, were integral in beginning and starting the Victory Club. And so she wanted to come online, and she was having technical difficulty in Carnegie. And today is a holiday. It's an official holiday. So the complex is closed, and there was no employees there that we could try to intervene with her technology because it was late in the day. So I tried to record her, and the recording was too low. The volume was too low for me to share with you. But she wanted to just express that this is the first time in her memory that we haven't gathered as Kiowa people on November 11th, and how the Victory Club began. She was explaining that whole story, and the volume's too low to share it, but what I'm gonna do is transcribe it and then share it through the Facebook page and the other social media, whatever we have available to share with the rest of you. But I wish that you could hear her expression, because she wanted to be here online with us, and then the recording didn't work out either, but I'm going to work on that and get that transcribed so you can hear that account from her. She was talking about some of what's already been expressed, but she was also talking about a song, a victory song that was composed by a woman as well. And so I have to really kind of like strain to hear what she was saying at that point. But so that's why it was somebody else asked that same question in the chat. And so, you know, for us today, it seems like most of the songs are composed by men, but hearing some of the history just today, I guess we know that Kiowa women did compose songs. So all you Kiowa ladies out there, hey, you can compose songs, and I guess that's something that's a part of our history too. So let's see. Ekima, do you want to share some of the history? You got a song ready? Age. Your speaker is not working.
Oh. I'm too close to, okay. Okay, is that better? Okay, can you hear me now?
Huh.
Oh, okay, all right. Yes, I'm gonna sing. No, I'm not. I've been sucking on my lemon all day and drinking my tea with honey since sunrise, preparing. But no, I just want to share something. I just sent a little chat message to everybody about Grandma Dolores, and just really am thankful that we have our elders joining us this evening. Miss Velma and my Grandma Dolores, and whoever else may be on as well, elder wise. But I really wanted to stress what Grandma Dolores had said about about the songs. But I really wanted to point out her father, who was myself and my brother Freddie. That was our big brother, Louis Toibo, and that was Grandma Dolores's father. And a lot of the songs that we all know so well and hear today being sung for veterans and honoring them, and to document through the songs the experiences they might have had, or that they were composed by him. The vast majority, from what I understand, as well as Grandpa Leonard Kozat Sr. And so I just wanted to mention that, and it is an honor to have Grandma Dolores share all these things with us, because she has such a vast amount of information because of her knowledge. So I just appreciate that. And also I put a note on there on the chat that I do know that women have also created several Kiowa Christian hymns, Kiowa hymns as well too. And so, and I know it's a separate type of song than we're discussing tonight, but it does go along with this song composing by women. So, shall I go ahead and share my screen of the images, Tony, or shall we do that now?
I have the information, your family veteran information on a slide.
Oh.
If you want to do that first, or the images?
Sure, I can go ahead and share. Well, myself and also George, he has, of course, as we all do, have contributions of warrior veterans within our own families individually, each of us. And being Kiowa, but being Indian, we are a very proud people, because we really honor our veterans, and that is something that we take pride in. And I always feel like we take pride in it in a humble way. And it's something that I think that makes us unique as a people, as Indian people, is that is something that we all carry with us in a good, humble way, in remembering our warrior veterans within our own individual families. So Tony and I had talked about this in George. We had talked about, from our own individual families, sharing some information. And so I put my information on the screen. I talked with my mother about this, and we came up with a list of immediate, extended family members. But, of course, as Indian people, we're all close in our families, just to mention some of them. And then George will mention someone in his family of note that he'd like to talk about that was a veteran. And then I don't know, perhaps everybody else would be able to share too. But I do want to start with my maternal grandfather. His name was Morris Topai, and his nickname was Jigs, and he was United States Army veteran of the Korean conflict in the early 1950s. Of course, you can go down the list there. My mother's brother, his name was Frank Kwaku, and he was a veteran of the United States Army. And I've seen somebody on the group chat, and it is Robert Chinate. Are you there, Robert? Okay. Well, I'm not sure, but I wanted to clarify if Robert can hear me. I wanted to ask you, Robert, if you're Sunny. You're Sunny Chinate.
Yeah, hey, sorry, I was on mute. No, that's my Uncle Jake's son, Sonny. So that was my on my dad's side. Uncle Jake was our cousin of my uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he is on my list because he is my mother's. Of course, we all say brothers or sisters in our Indian way, but that was my mother's brother. Would say cousin or anything, but that was her biological brother, and that was Brian Jake Chinate.
Right.
Yes, he was a United States Army veteran and recipient of the Purple Heart Medal during service in Vietnam. And my maternal grandfather was Herbert Joe Topai. He served the United States Armed Forces. One of my mother's uncles, my maternal grandfather, was Ira David Kwaku, but his name was Tubby, nickname. And he was a United States Army veteran of World War II, and he received the Purple Heart Medal for a severe stomach wound injury that he suffered from a complete entry and a complete exit of a Japanese bayonet. And it's miraculous that he survived that, but he did live to tell that. And then another grandfather, a World War II combat veteran of the United States Army. Yet another, his name was Samuel Kwaku. He's a brother cousin. We say brothers or sisters. He's the son of my mother's relative, my mother's brother, Monty Paul Kwaku. He was a United States Army veteran in Afghanistan. He shot and killed an Afghan suicide bomber during a deadly attack. And one thing that I want to bring up is that I do appreciate very much Miss Velma beginning our session with a prayer. And she mentioned our veteran warriors, male, female, and she also mentioned those that are sick. She mentioned also our other elder, Helen Ekawati Koma. And I appreciate that, because one of the things that I want to share is that Samuel Kwaku, this suicide bomber situation that he endured stays with him today. he's a young man, but he suffers very badly from post-traumatic stress disorder. And we always must remember, as we all do on All Understand, to keep them in prayer, because they live it every day, as we all know, and they remember. And so I appreciate the prayer that I felt like Velma said that covered that for us. And we think about those people tonight and all of those that came before us that served as well. Finally, Murphy, my maternal grandpa, another one, Chunky was his name. And he was a veteran he was a United States Marine. So we had several more. And then this is not really covering everybody, because I'm sure if we end up sharing, my brother Freddie will talk about our grandpa Fred Sudel, as well as our grandpa Luke Toybo Sr. They're both passed away now, but of course they're both World War II veterans. And so we could go on and on. So, but at the bottom, I put information about the Purple Heart Medal. I thought it was really interesting to do some research. Purple Heart differs from all the other decorations in that an individual isn't recommended for it, but he or she is entitled to it upon meeting specific criteria. And the criteria is pretty lengthy, but it's very specific. Basically, shedding blood in enemy territory and living or dying from that. So, but of course, on the list, I want to mention also numerous people, but Grandma Mildred Hamilton, Mildred Sudel, but she was, I believe, one of the first Kiowa woman to serve in the armed forces. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that she was. But I have some images that we'll be sharing later, I think. And I tried to include as many of our Kiowa veterans on there as I could think of. And then I ran out of time. So I want George to go ahead and go over his really quick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think you'll have to kind of get in front of the speaker.
Get it.
You able to see us, everybody, or do you see the paper, the writing?
Yeah, I think both.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, hello everyone. Well, I guess we're like what Aki was talking about. All of our families, we have so many family members that have contributed to the military services. But one of note for my family, my mother, the late Eileen Woodard, her brother, and big guy George Douglas Lawton, and he was a very strong and honorable man, and he was very influential in my life and all of my siblings' lives. And just a little recount of his military history right here. I'll get through it pretty quick. He was born George Douglas Lawton, February 22nd, 1933, and passed away in August 17, 1989. And he was born in Carnegie, Oklahoma. He grew up in Anadarko, Oklahoma, the home of his parents, Pearl Lawton Woodard and Marcus Oliver Woodard. He was a member of the Kiowa tribe and a descendant of Teksai, a noted Kiowa chief. George attended Riverside Indian School. While there, he enlisted in the Oklahoma National Guard at the age of 15 years old. He was honorably discharged to enlist in the United States Army in 1949. At the beginning of the Korean War, and just at 16 years of age, they let him in. Went on to serve 20 years in the military, serving honorably in both the Army and later in the Marine Corps. He was a combat veteran for 2 wars, Korea and Vietnam, and a recipient of the Purple Heart Medal. As a Marine, he was deployed in both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. On retirement from the Marine Corps, he returned home and volunteered as an investigator for the newly formed Oklahoma Indian Rights Foundation. Moving west, he was employed as an alcoholism counselor and an ex-offender counselor for Indian people and a job developer for the some tribes that lived out in the native communities out of California. He was laid to rest in a Cedar Creek Cemetery with full military honors, and that was something to see. They played taps and a 21 gun salute. And the thing about my uncle that always stands out about him was that he was also a Marine drill sergeant, and so he was pretty tough, and he was a kind of a Marine's Marine. So that I'm very proud of him and his service, and just like all of us are family members. So anything else anybody has to add, we're very excited to hear about.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us share that.
Okay, I'll give you a few minutes to get your images ready that you would like to share. I did ask, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I asked a couple of our women's veterans that are online. And I thought I saw LaRue. LaRue, are you still here?
That's from, yeah. Let me make this bigger.
LaRue? She may have stepped away from her screen.
Also, my aunt, Randy. Hi, Randy. She also is one of our Kiowa women veterans.
Hi, everyone. I served in the United States Army, and as a rank of sergeant, I was honorably discharged, and I was called to active duty during Operation Enduring Freedom here at Fort Sill. And one thing that I would like to mention is my grandmother, Lucille Tattletee Topa, gave me my Kiowa name, which was her name. And I felt it a great honor that she gave it to me while she was still living. But Ehon Tongo is my Kiowa name, and it means struck across the forehead with the hatchet by the enemy. And it's a warrior's name. And that is just something that I treasure very deeply, and I try to live my life in an honorable way. But I'm glad that I was in for the country, and I am a newly asked member to be part of the Kiowa Women Warrior group, and it's an honor to be a part of that organization with my fellow military battle buddies. And so I just appreciate you guys doing this. Aho.
Randy, if you don't mind, could I ask you, when you come, after your service and then coming home to our different various celebrations where veterans are recognized, can you just kind of give an expression of what that's like for you as a former service person?
For me, it's pretty humbling because whenever I went off to boot camp, I, of course, went to blackleggings, and they had a special for me. And to be there surrounded by so many people that love and care for you, and even though they may not have directly known me, but because we're the same people, you can feel those prayers and the thoughts. And oftentimes, whenever I think of the recognition and the gratitude, I think a lot of my dad. He's Ponca, and he served in the Vietnam conflict. And they didn't get the same type of recognition that we see here, although I know our Indian people have always recognized the warriors and everything like that. But it's just humbling. And sometimes I feel unworthy of it, just because I don't know. It's kind of hard to say sometimes, but I knew what I was signing up for, and I fulfilled my obligation. But when I'm at an event, or even just asked to stand up, it's a very special time for me, because it was our country first, and you start thinking about your ancestors and the people that have come on before you, that laid the foundation for you to be here. And so a lot of times I think of the other people that came before me, but it's just really a humbling and special moment to be recognized.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to say something on this topic? LaRue,
I came over to Martha's place for you.
oh, wonderful.
So here she is, if you guys want to hear
Oh,
what she's got to say.
Hi. Hi there.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi, Edgar.
welcome.
Hi. How are y'all? Are y'all?
Day bon.
Day also. I don't have anything to say except that it's so devastating to know that we're in this epidemic that has caused us to more or less grow apart from each other. And for the sake of our veterans, we never should forget about them, no matter where they are. I know we have a lot of them that are overseas yet, and we need to take care of them and think of them and keep them in our prayers all the time. And I was speaking on about the Victory Club earlier, and said that that organization has been with us for almost 79 years that I've been alive now, and it originated down at the Carnegie Park, and it accelerated up to the Kiowa complex and wherever. But we always honor all our veterans, no matter who they are, where they're at, what tribe they are, or whatever. And that was one of the main goals of the Carnegie Victory Club, because it was founded by my late aunt, Aunt Beulah Hall Zotai, and Aunt May Hall Topai. And so we continue to do their work. And I know the girls that are doing it at this time are working hard. And I know that with this epidemic, it's hard for them to do anything because you can't have any gatherings. And we really miss that. We miss that dancing and fellowshipping with one another. So I just want to tell y'all that I thank y'all for doing what y'all are doing for the veterans today. Thank y'all. Aho, Deone. Aho.
Hey, can I just add that today, me, Gloria Huffman, Aaron Jones, Bummis, I don't know, can't remember his first name, Lewis, JJ, a few of the singers, he had it on his heart to do this today, because he said Victory Club has never missed a day at the memorial. And I believe he came over here and asked you, Martha, you know, kind of for permission and stuff. And we went down there, I put the flag at half mast, and it was really, really somber, and like the wind just kind of calmed down. And they sang 2 songs. I know one of them was the Empty Saddle song, and I can't remember what the other one was.
Probably the Victory Club song.
And the Victory Club song, yeah. And it was just really, for me, being a military person,
thank you for your service.
I remember everybody that's gone on, you know, my brothers, my sisters who died overseas. It really touches me all the time. But Aaron did call off all the names that was on the memorial, like we always do. And just Timmy Soodle, he prayed, and he was like, you know, he prayed for everybody like he always does. So it was really humbling to be there today in this pandemic, because it's just, you know, it touches everybody. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I just so appreciate Aaron for thinking, you know, about everybody and our veterans. So thank you for this time.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Larry. Thank you.
Oh.
How's the Zoom work? Do you know?
Better that way.
Did I see Miss Bernadine?
Yes, she's on. Grandma Bernadine.
Yes, here I am.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. I've been so busy looking at all those beautiful faces and listening to the wonderful voice of Freddie. I really do appreciate him and his songs and all the others that are. This is really a weird time for us elders. We have never in our life, neither have you, experienced this pandemic. And I keep thinking, well, it's going to be over pretty soon, but it keeps going and going. But we do have one thought, or I do, that I know it will end, because the good Lord is with us, and we must not lose our faith. We must keep the faith always, as our elders did, and that's where we learned our faith, and from the good Lord. And that's been on my mind today, remembering the times at Carnegie and seeing my mother and my grandmother and my aunts and all my brothers and sisters. Wonderful being a Kiowa, because you're kin to everybody. So when you go into a celebration or a funeral, you are among family. And it's wonderful to see you young people doing this and keeping the language going. I appreciate that. And these special, the special way that we feel toward our veterans, because I grew up in a time when all my brothers and uncles and the women went off to World War II, and it's wonderful. And this day, which is Veterans Day, was once called Armistice Day. It was always the Armistice Day dance at the end of World War I, which was November 11th in 1918. And they changed it to veterans, so all the wars veterans of all the wars would be honored. And so you all keep up the good work, and it's good to see all these Kiowa faces. I feel like I'm on an island up here in Oklahoma City. I never get to see any Kiowas, so I have to come to Facebook so that I can see faces of Kiowas. God bless you all, and thank you for this. Did you all hear me?
I hope. Tell Dr. Rhodes hello too. We sure miss seeing him.
Okay, well, he's just going out. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grandma.
You're welcome, grandson.
Hi, Auntie.
Hi.
Rusty, did you want to say something?
We're gonna make that tonight. We didn't know what we're gonna have.
Oh, hell yeah, boy. Good evening, everybody. All the way from the Four Corners area of Farmington, New Mexico.
Someone giving money out there? Hey.
Just want to say thank you to all the veterans and active military, all my relatives that are out there in the Facebook world, and all my koiku gekomba. You know, I miss seeing you all. Today, especially being Veterans Day, you know, most of our koiku, our families are saddened about families making their journey home. And, you know, our own family too, Kozak family, we dealt with our bereavement, but yet, you know, it's through prayer. They do outside. You know, we carry on the best way we can for our kids, our children, our grandkids. I just wanted to share some good words with you all my siggies, my son. You know, I tuned in where he was singing a composition, one of my dad's early compositions, the Victory Club song. You know, that is a very meaningful song to us. My brothers, my Bob Joy, my sisters. You know, when Dad made that song, it was back in 1942, and at that time he was drafted, and of course Victory Club at that time they had the celebration there at the Carnegie Park, and at that time he composed. He said, "I'm going to make this song for this club because the deep history of our grandmas. You know, we got a lot of relatives that at that time they were very instrumental helping my grandmas and Aunt E. You know, there were a bunch of them at that time." He said they prayed for him. He said my dad left. He left 5 kids at home and his wife to go to war and to defend this country. Excuse me a little bit. It's very touching to hear that song being sung. And today being Veterans Day, you know, I really miss my dad. And, you know, there's a lot of songs he's made throughout the years for different individuals, reviving our time pegu, Tom Konga, composing Ohama Dog. You know, there's a lot that he's done for our people. And hearing his stories about being over there. And he said one time, he said, I was in Hürtgen Forest in Germany. He said, he made a pact with God. He said, you know, Doc, if I get to go home, I'm gonna do something for my people, not just my koigu, but all people. And sure enough, he came home, and he with the help of all my other uncles at that time, they revived our dances, what we're doing today, and what it is today. And a lot of times, you know, we shared a lot of good fellowship with a lot of good uncles, a lot of good grandpas, and the songs that were revived, and teaching the meticulous teaching of these words and these songs are very, very meaningful and powerful. And I heard the expression of my sister LaRue and my nephews over there. They sung some of the compositions there and some of the songs that were made by our grandpas and our grandmas. It's still strong to this day and it's very powerful and meaningful. And sometimes we shed tears because we miss them. We miss what they are, their loving teaching, and sometimes stern teachings. But it was for us to understand that we as a younger generation, to carry on what they've been through. And there's a lot that they sacrificed, and a lot of veterans that paid the supreme sacrifice. And my dad always talks about some of his brothers, his cousins, as Koigu, we're all related. I keep hearing that all the time. He said, yeah, we are. We're kind of like a big family. When your parents are both Koigu, you're basically um, you're basically related to everybody. And I was trying my best to remember our relations and how we are related, and some of the stories that our relatives that went over to overseas and they come back and some didn't. I grew up listening to that all my years growing up at Hall Creek and Carnegie, Surreal, where we lived in Indian City. These songs that are rendered, they bring back a lot of good memories. But I also remember why they're sung in a certain format, certain way. And there's a lot to it. Just not just singing. It just there's a you got to make sure you pronounce words correctly. And my dad was very stern about that growing up, and we tried our best to hold on what we have today, and we share that. We try to teach our younger generation, like my nephews, my nieces, and those that are interested in learning our traditional veterans, our warrior songs, the true warrior, Tonkonga, and even Time Pegu. There's a few songs in there that talks about war deeds, and we try our best to teach them the best of our abilities. And we're trying our best to carry on and do what we can for our Koigu. As today, I try to share as much as I can through social media, if and when it's possible, and if and when it's permissible. Back then, the old folks back then, he said, don't share too much out there because this is us, and things can be construed and taken by misconception and misunderstandings. So I try my best to teach that to those who are interested in our traditions of our songs and what it means. And I had a couple of calls today from a couple of folks that were wanting to know about songs, and I said, I can tell you so much about it, but if you're Koigu, I can tell you everything about it. And there's a lot of things that what I know, I try my best to share what was taught to me from my dad Leonard Cozat Sr., and of course my uncles like Bill Kumpsta Sr., and then my Segi Bill Colity, Price Spotted Horse, my grandpa. There's a lot of these gentlemen back then that I sat there, and they used to come to Hawk Creek, or they used to come to Indian City or Surreal, where we used to live, and they would share these songs. And even Sigi Gus Palmer Sr., I barely remember those days back then. They would always try to remember these songs, and I was very fortunate to see that and witness those gentlemen, those distinguished gentlemen, to me, that they shared these songs with all of us today. And when I logged in earlier, y'all was talking about women making songs, and it's true. One particular time dog, my aunt, my late aunt, Mary Big Bull Tartza, their family song, she made that. it came to her to a dream. And of course, right there, we lived in Hawk Creek. She came over and visited my dad, and he said, would it be permissible? And she said, well, because, you know, God came to you through a dream, that song. Said, oh. So years time, that's when they brought that song out over at Tampy Park. So that's one of the things I witnessed back in my days of growing up in Hall Creek and sharing this history about these songs, these veteran songs, and what they mean to our people. And of course, there's others that made songs too, and put words in these songs that we utilize today. It's very powerful what they use. You know, their meticulous wording in these songs that got to go along with that tune of that song. And my I believe Mabel Hummingbird made a song too. She put words in there, her song too. There's quite a few that have made songs that we utilize today, and our families we do our best to remember them and to sing them often. You know, me being way out here in the Four Corners area, you know, there's hardly any Kiowas out here. But, you know, there's times I get up my big drum and I sing, or I sing with my Sunny Boys here. And we do what we do here and I try to teach them, you know, young as they are, you know, these songs, these are your songs. You're going to be a part of this. You're going to have to take care of this. And I share that with them as young as they are. So, you know, all these songs that we sung up to this point, you know, I know there's others that made songs that are meaningful to our Tonkonga and to our women's society, our scalp and all the going. You know, there's a lot of songs in there too that's been utilized today that we hold dearly to our heart. And I just want to say that much to y'all. I know I kind of talked a little bit long, but I just want to share that little bit with you. And I thank you, Siggy, for doing this and putting this on social media. And we can get better commonality of understanding our Goy dog. I hope.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad.
No. Oh, bull.
And God, you're just way over there too. I bet it's just probably feels good just to see familiar faces, huh?
Oh yeah, heck yeah. It's just like Aunt Berdina. I said, boy, it's good. It's the only way I can see y'all. Boy, I miss y'all. And before I forget, I'm gonna come home. We're gonna have a Sampy meeting over at Hawk Creek at your Siggy Daniels next Saturday. I invite y'all to come over. My boys are gonna get their Koigu names at that time. So those of y'all listening here, y'all are more than welcome to come over and be with us. And come over for a Sunday dinner if y'all want to as well. Just want to say that too, Paul.
Okay. I do have a clip to share from Bloss. But I'd like to ask Grandma Dorothy if she would like to say anything here before we move on to that. Grandma Dorothy, I'll let you get your turn your sound on. Last Thursday, Aunt Mabel and Freddie and I, we were on our session thinking about, you know, doing something for Veterans Day, and we just miss everybody. And it's just odd, as everybody has said so far, that we're not gathered together on this day. So we were talking about the words for soldier, and so we're going to share those and share a phrase that you can work on or practice, and then you can use that expression when you're speaking or even in prayer too. So we have that to share with you here at the end. Grandma Dorothy, do you want to say anything? Her mic is off.
Can you tell her what button to push? She's on mute to put unmute.
It looks like she's looking for her the button to turn her sound on. While she's doing that, I just too wanted to mention again at the very beginning of the chat, we shared a link for the survey, and that is basically how we can continue funding for our language programs. And so I'll share it again at the end, but if you would take the time after this is over sometime, it doesn't have to be tonight, but if you could do that tonight or tomorrow, we with that feedback, we are able to continue our programming. So it's for our funding source. So Grandma Dorothy, we still can't hear you. Your mic is still off.
She needs to click your bottom left-hand corner of your computer where you should see a microphone that says mute. And with your mouse, you click that mute button to unmute yourself. Can you see it? Or click on your screen name. You see a microphone with that's red with a slash through it. If you can click that on your screen name, and then click unmute.
Yeah, I tried to unmute her from my end and it won't. It won't.
Okay. On your computer, if you have your screen up at the very bottom to your left, it would be, no, it'd be her left. You see a microphone, you click that. I'm sorry.
You might try to hit the space bar.
Oh, good one. Grandma Dorothy, does your computer or tablet have a space bar? If you hold that down, I think you should be able to talk.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say Zempty. It's so.
Oh.
I come from the time when all of my folks followed every ceremonial from the time World War II started. Therefore, I attended all of those at Carnegie Park. And seemed like it was a group of Victory Club. I remember when they formed. I remember when the Kiowa War Mothers got their charter. And I remember dancing out in the field by Simone. And those beautiful pictures of different ones. I remember the Victory Club making their blankets with that V and the dot, 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 dash from, by hand. All of those memories come back when our drummers sat with no lights. They had to pump their gas lights. And they sat on little bitty little stools. And it was the way Rusty named some of them, like Kalati. Bontali was his Indian name. And that he was married to Lena Bohe. Those were the ones I remember. That Jasper Doya, Cletus Satepahol's oldest brother, Bill Kumsa. I can go on down, and most of all, I remember Harry Hall. And they were the ones that would dance down there. And I remember the beautiful way the men dressed, the Botone brothers and all of them. They had red shirts. And I don't know what they look real sharp in their attire, like black pants and red shirts with their mescal. And I've seen pictures of them recently, but I experienced all that with my folks because we went from dance to dance, and Bernadine and them know that. All of the ones that are my age are gone. And it was a good time. People were patriotic. The first person that came back from the war to tell his story in the arena there was Bill Kumsa's brother, Bob Kumsa. I think that was his name. But he was able to tell his war story to the older men because they were so anxious to hear that. You know, that somebody is your war stories. And he got up and was able to tell those. And you never heard so much hollering and, you know, honor hollers and everything through the audience. That was so good. Everything was so innocent. The people were so patriotic. I remember Anna Scott Tonmo's mother, Lucy Jackson, Richenda Toibo, all of the different ones, the Halls, the Zotais, but those were I think I might dare say that I'm one of the very few that remembers those anymore because they're all going to heaven now. And it brings back good memories to even hear their names. And Honde Odi Yatenso get tonight. I was thinking my technician wasn't going to make it, but this sounds like it's good. So y'all go on. And I'm happy to speak with you. And hello, George and Julia. Velma. These are really good. I think that the method you guys are using, might be able to even enter them in some of these films, the Indian, you know, film shows that people compete in. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. Can you hear me anymore?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Don't forget that word, victory. Kawkia, son. They came back in victory.
Kawkia.
Kawkia. K-A-U and then Kia. Mm-hmm. That's your victory, son. That's your victory. But I remember all that because my dad sang all over different places. He's not remembered because he died in 1949. But he took a lot of part in some of those. And I don't, other than what we got off the tapes for Black Leggings with those songs, there's a few I remember. Joe made one. Bontali made a couple. Leonard Kozat made one, or, you know, I remember them. But most of the compositions of Tonkonga Dog are from the old recordings of Hunting Horse and Bilo Kozat, Charlie Whitehorse. I have to go back and remember, but they're the ones that made if there were any made. Now, I don't know about the gourd dance, but the Tonkonga, they were very seldom made because these are old ones. Aho.
Aho. Thank you. I'm going to try to play this. So I have my audio on. This was a call to Bloss. And he was telling me that there was another celebration going on, probably some alternate celebration since people aren't really gathering, but he said that they asked the Black Leggings to come up. And so he was on his way and he was looking for a place to call from where it would be quiet enough for him. So I'm gonna try to play it. You guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear it. If it's too low, then I'll just have to stop it.
Oh, Bluff. Sorry, I was on with Martha. Correct.
Okay.
Okay, do you just have a minute? Okay.
Can you hear his voice? No, okay.
I can't hear him.
Okay. I'll have to do the same thing with this recording too. I'll have to download it and then translate it. But he was also giving, he was talking about the traditions of the dances that people would have. And some people talked about it tonight too, about how they would have dances at their home places, the original allotments. And he was talking about that tradition and how he doesn't see it as much, although we still have high military participation. He doesn't see that tradition as much. And so I'll have to transcribe that so that I can share it with you all. Okay, thank you. And then Julia, I guess, so we'll go to your images if you want to share those. And while she's pulling those up, it's an open discussion. If there's anything that people want to share about their own memories or family, you can do that while she's pulling up her images. The last thing we're going to do is share those words that I talked about a little earlier.
Hey,
So,
I
yeah.
just wanted to say I'm the Victory Club secretary, and if you all know of anybody who's a new enlisted soldier of any of their branches, to email me and let me know, so maybe we can do like a send-off for them, both for basic training and their advanced training, or even when they come back home. And then also, you know, if we've misplaced a lot of the older pictures, you know, how we have them displayed during the powwow on the November 11th. I've been in charge of trying to get everybody's picture and stuff. So if y'all could email me those pictures and their names and their ranks and any other information you can, because we're also looking for, you know, like the newer after the Vietnam era, all of the soldiers now and that's been to Afghanistan, Kuwait, all these other places. So and I know of one we've got a female helicopter pilot, and I'm still trying to track her down. So if anybody knows of any information on any soldiers, I would gladly appreciate y'all's help in that. So thanks.
Are you meaning Jackie Kennedy?
Oh yeah, probably. I think I don't
she's
remember the name.
Well, she's a pilot. That's Dr. Kennedy's daughter.
Woohoo! Okay. And then I also need to get your nephews and your brother's picture, basic training. I don't think I've seen it with Victory Club Summer.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
So thank you all. Love you. Thank you for the time. Bye.
LaRue, to add to that, I opened up on Facebook for those of you that are on Facebook. If you just search Kiowa Language, you should be able to find the Kiowa Language Facebook page. But I opened a new album and it says Kiowa Veterans or something to that extent. But if you want to upload photos there, they can be all in a central place, LaRue. And then you can download them or we can send them to you. But I noticed
that would be awesome.
Just scrolling on Facebook, I mean, different people's, you know, people are posting a lot of veterans pictures. And I thought, man, it'd be great to have all of those in one place. And then we can share that because a lot of our younger people might not know, you know, some of the contributions of our servicemen and women. So
correct. And Gloria and Ramona and of course Martha, they know the families and, you know, everybody's in the past, the World War II veterans, all the way back to like the forts and stuff. So anything would help, because I mean, we look to the families for head men gourd dancers, you know, and it's nice to honor the females as well sometimes. So just any kind of information. And actually, I would prefer the email because I don't know how bad the pictures will be or how good they are. But if I get them sent straight to me, I can print them out at a better quality. So thanks.
Does anybody know those people? That first one is Pascal. That next one is Lucy Jackson. That next one is Scott Tonmo's mother. They belonged to the VFW auxiliary. It was intertribal, but they had that white blankets. I know because my mother was a member. and they had an emblem on the back, and they took part in all those dances. This first one is my sister, Lucy Beaver, White Horse. I don't know who that other one is. It looks like Dorothy Rhodes. And then down, but I've got that picture. And it's, I know the words to the song they sang when Joe Gulale got killed in action. But I have never said them because I didn't know if they I don't know if they tied the song up forever, or I know Ohoma stopped the words from Lindritz from the time he was killed. And Ohoma never sang the words again, but other drums do. But Joe Gulale, he was killed in the Pacific. And I remember the words when, and the words are to the Victory Club theme song. And they're pretty sad, so I don't know. And nobody seems to want to consult me because I'm a woman. So welcome, if you want to learn, just call me.
For sharing, Grandma Dorothy. I believe that the gentleman holding the flag is Pascal Cletus Gulaw. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's Pascal.
Yes.
And that's Lucy Enoch Smokey's daughter, their daughter. And that's Blas when he first. And then the next one is Scott Tonmo's mother, Alice. And I remember when all of those were shot. I've just got a big curious mind. That's why I don't pretend to know it all. I just remember. And I remember this when it was shot. Gus was a tail gunner on one of those. He made his missions over the English Channel to the north of France.
Again, if anybody would like to join in, please share with us.
Yeah, and this other one, that's Big Jim Paddleton. They lived at Shady Front where they played hand game. And this other one is George Nacconi. He was Hamilton, what is his name? Glenn Hamilton's half brother. This one. And Eva Satebehold, their half brother, George Nacconi. He was married to Ethel Ware. And I was in the north of France, but this John Satoke, they had a banquet for us. And a family came and they said it was unlikely, but they wanted to talk to somebody. So I talked to them and they had a picture of John Satoke, because the English, the underground had hid him for a while when he was in World War II, when he was there. And I brought the pictures back and I think we gave them to Jane. But that was really surprising. Way back 30, 40 years before. And I thought I wouldn't begin to know him. Oh, what good pictures.
I saw my camp go by.
I included. Oh, go ahead.
That made me happy. Thank you very much.
There was a picture of George Woodard. He was my classmate at Riverside, but he was one of the first ones that came. He served in 3 wars, and he came up and he was a spokesperson for Black Liggins, Tonkonga at that time. And that's Tinder is what we called him. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was his nickname.
Yeah, and George, he was just such a gentleman, the nicest veteran, but he was my classmate too.
Oh, go ahead.
He was me and my little sister Janet T-High. We lived with him when we were in high school. We both graduated from Anadarko, and George Woodard is named after him. And then now we have another, my older brother, Oscar Cotapony, his grandson's name is George too. He's named after him too. And so I always thought that I was special, but as I grew older and grew up, he treated all his nieces and nephews so special, and he made us all feel like we were his favorite. He was a really special person to all of us.
Dixon Palmer had those, made you think you were number one. I don't.
Yeah. That's how he was.
And George Wood, he was nice to everybody at Riverside. He had a personality. He wouldn't stop.
For somebody that may not know, right here, we have Pascal Cletus Pulaw, and then Pascal Cletus Pulaw is also here. And then he also, is he in this one? Does anybody know? No? Oh, is he? See this one? And then he's also,
that's his uncle, Horace Pulaw.
Horace. Well, and this is him again, but we couldn't go by without mentioning him because he is, for those who may not know, Pascal Cletus Pulaw is the most decorated Native American.
I was going to start my work on President Biden so he could get that posthumously if things work. Oh, she was so pretty. She was one of our first ones that was in the Army, Elba May.
But what I did was I included a photograph here. George had got us a book. And for those of you who may not be aware, it's the Kiowa Military Society ethnography. And it's
oh yeah, I have that. It's by what's his name? Meadows, Bill Meadows.
Bill Meadows from the University of Missouri.
And he's that's the most informative.
Julia, I can barely hear you.
Oh shoot. Well, he has a photograph in that book of the Carnegie Victory Club armistice observation at the complex that was held this morning at 11 o'clock, but he included it from November 11th in 1997. So I thought I'd put that on there. It was pretty neat. But he describes in his book, it's a military societies of the Kiowas. It's very, very good. But I wanted to mention this really quick. He noted the contemporary Kiowa women's societies, contemporary, and he mentions the Kiowa War Mothers, the Carnegie Victory Club, the Stecker Purple Heart Club, and the Kiowa Veterans Auxiliary.
Yes.
And so I wanted to put them all out there right tonight so that we could mention them as well, because they're very integral to our veterans, to our Kiowa veterans.
Bill Meadows got all of his information from the right sources, and that's the most informative book on the Kiowas I've ever read. I got a free copy for being one of his, in a little way.
That's all we have, Tony.
Okay, Grandma Dorothy, who I think we probably should also mention is Burgess Lee Tapido.
Burgess and Roland Botone. Their uncle was Bill Botone, who was the commander of the 45th Division when they left for Korea from Riverside, and they took the whole senior class just about. And we didn't have any guys in the 11th and 12th grade during the Korean War because they took them all. And only they all came back though, and scattered out, and we never, they never hardly lived here no more. But they should be I could pull up that information, of the ones that.
I just wanted to, because as you were scrolling through some of those historic photographs, because Burgess Tapido served in every branch of the military in his career. So I thought that
was Elba May's brother. And their brother in the same, on the same token was Roland Lawton, and then their uncle was Bill Lawton, you know, and they were all military, all of them, just like the Palmers, you know, there were 8 of them that served, and 3 sisters that served in just about every branch. That was really keen.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those, and thank you for the background of those photographs, Grandma Dorothy.
Okay, I have those, so if y'all, anytime. And if anybody's interested in those words, I cry when I sing it, but they're there. The guys that we lost, they all had a song, you know, because the Kiowa seen to that. No matter what area they lived, they got a song.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do one last share screen, and this is of a couple of words. And Grandma Velma, you'll be up. I'm gonna go ahead and share this. The words for soldier. Let's see. Let me go to current slide. Okay, can you see my slide?
Solega.
Solega.
Soleki.
Soleki.
Solema.
Solema.
Right sounds. Y'all have the right sounds.
And then remember or think about our soldiers. This is an expression you can use if you're addressing a group, or you can also incorporate it into prayer. Grandma Dorothy or Grandma Velma, can you?
Remember, or if you want them to be remembered a long time, all the time, Soligo be pedo day. You know, you're thinking about it at the time, and then day added to that means never forget them. And as Kiowas, we never do forget them. You know, all of us had somebody that served in some far country, and
For those who might be wondering, the system that this is written in is the modified Parker-McKenzie system. And that is the system that our Kiowa Language and Culture Revitalization Program utilizes for written Kiowa. And we're learning it. And of course, I'm new to it, but it's the system in case anybody's wondering, because I know there's several systems out there.
we fought through this win, you girls, you know, through every phase, I think. And I find that just plain old talk, like Dolores says. I talk it, you guys write it. You know, it's too busy to try to my simple head. And that's our job, isn't it, Velma? To talk it.
So if we could one more time with that phrase, and then maybe turn your mics on for everybody that's still listening in. If our elders will say that phrase, and then we can repeat after you.
Go ahead, Velma. I'm just. Solega.
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 Soleki.
Soleki. Military man.
Solema.
Solema. Solema. Military woman.
Solego bepeldo day. We'll add that on.
Yeah.
Sole
Because if you say they failed, you're thinking about them at that time. Soligo, they failed though. But if you remember for a long time, then you say, Soligo, they failed though. They failed though. You keep remembering the soldiers. And there's my girl again. Hello. Hello, sweetie.
Hello.
You see, Grandma?
What?
Carrie? Oh, I'm keeping my heater.
Tony, I would like to add something if I could. We had the screen up just now that was going over, those words and then the phrase. But I think one thing that people hear also in a lot of our Kiowa vocabulary, or mostly our Kiowa singing songs for veterans, is Katai with the popping K. And I think that needs to be mentioned because that Katai is the singular, it's the singular word for a chief, or a leader, or a ruler. And then the plural form is Katai Goth. And so sometimes you'll hear that in reference to our warriors as well. And another word that's really important, I think, is that it's Onde Goth. Onde Goth. And that's people of note, people of a high achievement who are very, very highly respected and regarded, almost like royalty because of their achievement. So that is something I wanted to mention in addition to what was already on the screen. But that Athai with the popping K is not to be confused with Gyai, in that Gyai dog get is methods of battle methods. Gyai dog get. And so I wanted to, and then the word to actually go to war is Gyai dog. So Gyai and Gyai are they're different words. So just wanted to add that.
And it's done a little faster, like you say, enkiaito. Like that. They're at war. Kiaito. And
there was also another word, and Bloss used it, and it was kind of like differentiating the difference between military servicemen and women and men and women, and then warriors. And the word he used was, and you guys can correct me because I'm probably not going to say this just right, but Yap-be-hey. Yap-be-hey, warrior.
Yatta-hey. Katayado, when they're soldiers, the way we honor them. And then Ongo are a group of the higher echelon of Kiowas. And that was in our circle in the teepee. There was a place for Oboe Koigu, and then Ongo, and then the Koitsenga. And Julia is right on that, classifying them on as being Katai. Katayado Akiaito-chan. And then you would get that word mixed up with Comanches because our word for them is Kiaigu, because we call them warriors. But then our scalp on our head is a Kiaipon. And there's always a misunderstanding about that. We call that scalp a Kiaipon. And then we call the Comanches Kiaigu. Kiaitali.
And then also just to mention this prefix or this part of the word, this sole, can be attached to Dogul or Yakoi or Toguda. It can be more specific. Is that right, Grandma Velma?
It's just all, including all of them. Solega.
Solega's men and women together. And then it can also be attached to those other terms. And that sometimes, and we were talking about that, Freddie was saying, you can hear that in songs a lot of times, Sole, Toguda. So it can be attached to specific age, kind of age groups or terms for people. Is that right?
Another, something else too, I was wanting to add is that, that Sole, Grandma Dorothy and the other elders, teachers, is that a version of the English word for soldier? Seems like I had heard that before. Soleil was taken from soldier. Like the actual sound of it. Soldier sounds like, Soleil sounds like soldier. Is that correct, or? Dorothy, is that accurate?
Her mic is off.
Oh, okay. It seems like I remember hearing it in a grouping of English, of Kiowa words that were taken from English words, but made into Kiowa words because of how they sound like the English word. And they were easier for our people to say, like, soldier and Soleil and, Washington and Gusetan and those kind of words.
Yeah, there's lots of examples of those because in Kiowa, we don't have all of those sounds that are in English. And so they would substitute words, or they were just foreign sound to them. So there are several examples of that. I remember, I think it was, well, I won't say her name, but she was telling us that the word for, I think it was 10 cents, they called them bits, like 2 bits. And so it's Tobe saying, or something like that. But it was really came from the English pronunciation. And then it was derived from the English words for that. We were talking about the name for the coins. And the word came from 2 bits, which is how they used to say, I don't know what 2 bits equals.
That's the same way with Comanche, like they call Lawton, and it's using the sounds, but where it's closely to Lawton because they didn't have a Comanche word for it.
Interesting. So borrowed words, just like English has a lot of borrowed words from native languages too. So, okay. Well, with that, Grandma Velma, do you want to close us out in a prayer, or do you want to ask someone else to do that? I shared again the link for the survey. If you all would take the time to do that, we can report back that we actually were able to have a language outreach, which we haven't been able to do. Oh, thank you. 2 bits is 50 cents. I wasn't sure. That's what it was, 50 cents. The 50-cent piece derives from the word 2 bits. But yeah, we want to continue doing this. And so using the technology that we have available and trying to keep our elders safe. It was such a blessing to hear the voices that we got to listen to this evening. And we're grateful that we still have elders that can teach us and correct us and share with us. And so Grandma Velma.
Have Dolores.
Okay.
Okay. Am I closing it? Okay. Well, I'm gonna commend you for this session before I pray, because Kiowas have always celebrated November 11th since the first time they celebrated, because there's documentation where they celebrated at different places every year. And I know at one time I went to November 11th at Dorothy Whitehorse's, her parents' place. They had November 11th there during the war, I think it was. So we can say that Kiowas have always celebrated. We didn't do it the traditional way, but I'm grateful that we're able to gather and celebrate and commemorate our veterans in this manner. So I want to commend you for this session. Now I'll pray. Deon de doggy and audit samigam dog get taints on gate or the 8 bonga a own time dog tonga hun get taints of dog dog in pedo hate the god dog get dog hate the 8 tie bog con they tell 8 8 they go get those on so they go 8 heat the dog eat thought it get dog they all they get dog tired to the I shan't go get my ham I get called my ham or dog either be tired though they go about town though they and go no more time go a dog or get Tom dog go 8 they want to get ordered dog ne dog me Tom get a on dog Coke is a little bit the tide though they keyed up a good dog at the good Tom dog but Collet saw the dog my dog Helen Eckworthy, I'm in Doddy. I'm on the gate of the dog in and town. Good area they on the Tolo tiger get the Honogon they Kobe they get 8 get a dog. Now toying the beta get dog tight to the own town doggy. I shan't go they born our own time a doggy because Saturday or other gig a doggy. 8 candy dog, you know, get 8 dog. They saw yan 8 a kill them yan high get when they get time get all the good 8 time harder and be all taught and get toe get on or they better a hole they get on. I can't better they all taught amen.
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 Oh.
Thank you all.
Oh, solo.
I have a question. Where does this ledger drawing come from?
This ledger drawing, I found it on an auction, and I believe that it was somewhere up north. And I'll send it to Kenny so you can read it, because I think that it was trying to spell a phonetic name of the artist, the Kiowa artist. But I was looking, it caught my attention, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, who did this? And it was a Kiowa artist. And yeah, and I saved it. I'll have to look for it and send it to you. But I thought, oh, that would be neat to get to have. And then I looked at the price tag, and it was bought for $25,000.
Ooh.
That just made me take a deep breath. Inhale.
I thought 100, I could do that. $25,000 is what somebody bought that, the original ledger drawing for.
Huh.
I'll put 2 bits on it.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you guys for getting on. I love you guys. We miss seeing all of your faces. Hopefully we can do this again.
Please come back and join us for more outreaches, or anytime we have anything, we'll have it posted somehow.
Oh,
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for attending. Good night.
Hey,
Take care.
yo.
see you guys.
Fill out her form, I think.
Click it. I don't see a form.
Where are we supposed to fill out? Are you still on?
Yeah, it's in the chat. There's a link you can click in the chat. Let me see if I can repaste it. Oh, no, that wasn't it.
I don't want it. Oh, no, I'm trying to find one. Click on here. There it is. I see it right there.
Okay, right here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, found it.
Oh, okay. Is Grandma Dolores, are you still on?
What's your name?
Okay, put my name, Bernadine Rhodes. Oh, oh, okay. You mean you can't just do that? Uh-huh.
Oh, wait.
Thank you, Melody, for resharing that.
Oh,
No, this
awesome program tonight, everyone.
No.
Oh, thank you. Good work last night too. I didn't even get a chance to email you. I was just running all day.
Oh man, I bet it's pretty crazy, but really awesome. Love to hear everyone and see everyone. Loved all the stories too. Thank you for putting this on. Aho.
Did you learn any Kiowa words?
Oh,
Are you interested in the Kiowa Youth Language Fair competition?
no.
Would you attend again?
Oh,
Are you a volunteer that does not work for the Kiowa tribe?
no.
Is this your first time to volunteer?
Honey. No, 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 no. I'm not volunteering it.
Are you paid as a contracted worker for working for the? No, honey.
Honey,
Are you working for another department of the Kiowa tribe?
honey.
How would you rate your overall experience of the event? 1 is poor, 2 is fair, 3 is good, 4 is excellent.
Oh, what?
How well did this program benefit the Kiowa community? Use a scale of 1 poor, 2 fair, 3 good, 4 excellent.
I would say excellent.
Did this program pique your interest in learning Kiowa language and culture? 1 poor, 2 fair, 3 good, 4 excellent.
Yeah.
Have you or your department donated contributions to this event?
Honey.
If so, how much? What town do you reside in or live in?
Jericho?
How did you hear about this event? Who told you? Your daughter, yeah. That's for my Facebook mom. My daughter. What in the world? Cat box. How much do you know Kiowa? 1, know it all, or 5, being a fluent speaker? You're fluent, aren't you?
I would say 4. I'm not fluent in really.
Okay. How did you gain a new perspective of the Kiowa language and culture?
If so, what? That's for me, Mom. Okay. If so, what? Additions to words. Kiowa word. What was the best part of the language event? Seeing everybody is what I would say. Here in Kiowa.